Gonna build a mountain from a little hill.
Hey guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is DeLady Designer. We are back with another speed build video of Pontus Zoo. And we recently did a poll on the community wall, and I asked you guys what animal to add next into Pontus Zoo, and you guys voted for the Siberian tiger. So here we are, we're building a Siberian tiger habitat for Pontus Zoo. And for this habitat, I really wanted to do something a little bit different. Like, we have a lot of mountains and stuff in Pontus Zoo right now, but I wanted to go like more of like a sunken habitat. So that's why I started off with drawing out more of like a hole into the ground, and that would basically be the base of the habitat for the Siberian tiger. So we have one bridge going over the habitat, which will obviously be a viewing point for the guests to look into the habitat, but there will also be two more viewing galleries more on eye level of the habitat itself and from the Siberian tigers, obviously. So hopefully it's not going to be super busy for the Siberian tiger at the bridge, at least. Like, we're not going to get any bottlenecks, but so far I don't have any guests in our zoo, so I can't really test it out. But yeah, we have to wait and see about that. And I really wanted to give this habitat another waterfall because, I don't know, I think waterfalls are definitely something I just think that are just super beautiful, especially in this biome together with the water. I don't know, I mentioned it in a previous episode already, I think, that the water for some reason just looks so stunning in this biome. So I really just enjoy building more things with water, and we're basically started off this whole series with more of like focusing on aquatic animals, so yeah, I think it makes sense to just use more water in general in this whole zoo. So yeah, a waterfall could obviously not be missed in this Siberian tiger habitat. It was quite a struggle to get it right. I don't know what it was, but it was freaking me out at some point, but in the end I was able to put down the glassy wall and just lower it down. I'm really happy though that I don't have that many issues with like lowering down that glass panel to exactly the water level itself. Still, I'm not like, it's not the best way of creating waterfalls, but there is just not really the most perfect way, in my opinion, to create these waterfalls with these VFXs. Like, these VFXs can just still look a little bit wonky, and especially if you're up close, you see those little things of the VFXs, and it's just not making me super happy. But yeah, well, we have to work with it, we have to live with it, unfortunately, so yeah. So we're going to have this tunnel system right next to the habitat, and the habitat, the habitat is actually not low enough, so when I started putting down some paths, I had to go up with the terrain tool, like the stamp tool, to really close it off again with some terrain. I had some struggles with that, but it's totally fine. But if you want to avoid that, you should just go a little bit lower with your habitat, I guess, so you are already underneath the ground. But it wasn't really that much of a deal. By the way, I do want to say about the waterfall, like the water section, I really do, as I said, I really want to have as many water or natural water sections as possible in the habitats. But I also really wanted to have like this very shallow water of a stream of water. I think I also did that with my city zoo episode with the African elephant, and I just really do like that. I didn't use that many rocks like I did in that habitat though, but that is definitely the inspiration I got for this more shallow river going through the whole habitat. So yeah, I think that really does look well, and I just really, as I said, I really love the water look in this game, so I think it just looks really beautiful in this habitat in general. So as I said, we're going to have this tunnel system on the side of this habitat, and one side is going to be a cave viewing into a cave for the Siberian tigers, and on the other side will be more of an open viewing into the habitat itself. And I do have to say, I really regret how I started with this tunnel cave viewing, because you should really try to get your animals in your habitat as soon as possible to make sure that you track the traversable area and to make sure that they're able to reach that cave. Like, I was working on this tunnel, I was like, you know what, I'm first going to do this tunnel system, and I'm going to do the cave, and I'm going to add so many details and stuff. And then after that, I decided to add the the tigers. So I really had this issue that they just didn't want to go inside. I really wanted to have this cave being like super small and cozy, really as small as possible, but I actually didn't realize that the tigers still need more room and more space to be able to even walk in. And I think in this case, the issue was mostly having it too low. Like the whole cave was too low for the tigers to come in. And sometimes you can't really tell. Like sometimes it's like rocks on the right or on the left side that are also ruining the traversable area. But I really had some issues with this, and it took me quite some time to fix everything. Like I really had this whole cave already finished and looking really cool. And then the Siberian tigers were just not able to get in, so I had to basically do a lot of stuff all over again. I had to sink the flooring a little bit, and I had to raise the rocks on top of it as much as possible, and then finally they were able to get in. But yeah, I'm still super happy with how it looks, but it's just super annoying sometimes that the animals are not able to reach it. So yeah, if you're going for anything like this, I would highly recommend you to get your animals in as soon as possible, so you're able to check the traversable area as soon as you place down the first rocks and you know if they're able to reach it or not. I did want to have like this heater inside of the cave for the Siberian tigers. Like in the end, they're still cats, you know, and cats do like some warmth every now and then. So the Siberian tiger, I think the Siberian tiger does like or can live in like a biome to like, what was it again, 28 degrees or something like that. So I just put some heaters in the cave itself to make sure it's like 22 degrees or something, just to give them like this warmer area for them in the cave. I think every cat-ish animal can really appreciate that. So that was definitely something I had in my mind. And in this case, I didn't want to hide it. So you can see those heaters more or better when you're looking into the habitat, and that is different from most of the habitats I do actually. So on the other side of the habitat, or from the tunnel, you have more of like this chain link. Well, it's not a chain link fence, I'm not really sure, steel mesh fence, or is it called a metal fence? I'm not entirely sure what the name is called. But yeah, on the other side of the tunnel, you have like this more open viewing, like this eye-to-eye experience with the tigers in their habitat. And obviously you have to make sure that the guest cannot like put their fingers through those steel fences, because obviously the tigers are gonna bite it off. So first I thought maybe I should add like this electrical fence or something like that on the other side to make sure that the tigers are not able to reach the steel fence up close. But then I was like, that's not really looking well, because it's only like 1 meter in height, and no, that just didn't work out well. So in the end, I did the same thing as I did with the ground or the cave viewing. And so I used the same fencing just to make sure that there is a distance in between the guest on the path and the fence itself. So that is all for safety measures, I guess. I never really look into that. Like mostly I start building the outside of a habitat and I do a lot of detailing with rocks and water and trees and everything. And then I come to the cave, like you can really take the example of the doll sheep. And then when you are working on the cave, you're like, oh, I just want to finish this habitat now. So you're not putting any much more detail into the cave area. And that's why I really wanted to start off with the cave this time and not keeping it super plain or anything. So I really wanted to make sure that the cave was looking well. And after that, I started doing the outside of the whole habitat. So I do think that is a best and better strategy for myself to really make sure that everything will look nice in the end. So that is definitely something I'm going to learn myself and teach myself to do more often, to start with the more tunnel and indoor section, which I always try to like, I don't want to build anymore. I just want to be finished. So yeah, I'm actually rushing those kind of areas. So, but I never show that, so you guys don't really know. So I wanted to give the tunnel a little bit of a mine feeling, so that is why I used some wooden beams, some sunlights to decorate it a little tiny bit, and I do think that looks really nice. Like it is still a cave, so you don't want to go too much crazy with like a lot of details, but it definitely looks super nice and just clean in general with the tunnel. So I'm really happy with how that has turned out. I actually did forget about the keeper gate for the whole habitat, so I was like, oh gosh, where am I going to put that one? And I think the most reasonable and most obvious place would be at the end of the tunnel, basically. So that is where I started to add the gate for the keeper and make sure that the path is connected to the end of the tunnel where the guests would be standing. So I think that is definitely the best place for this habitat to have the keeper gate. And yeah, as I said, like I almost forgot about it, so it's better that I put it here. And if I think about it, I have no idea where else I would have put it. Like there should have been another tunnel system or anything being connected then if I put it somewhere else. So I think that is just the perfect place for it. Maybe not the most useful place, but that doesn't matter, I guess. So the whole habitat is sunken, so I try to cover like all the edges around the whole habitat with just a lot of rocks. There's just a wall of the tundra and the taiga rocks surrounding the whole habitat. I did realize that the habitat was a little bit too small for the tigers, so in the end I tried to gather a little bit more terrain on the sides of the habitat before I started putting down those walls. And so yeah, it's right now, it's actually perfect size for the Siberian tiger in this zoo. But you could actually go a little bit more bigger if you just want to give them some more room. That speaks for itself, of course. But yeah, since this habitat is pretty close, it's actually right behind the gray seal habitat, the outdoor section that we made. So there's a lot of use of the aquatic rocks on that side. So I, in the end, really wanted to still blend it in more, so I decided to take a line of the aquatic rocks to really create a top edge of the whole surrounding of the habitat of Siberian tiger. You will see that later on in the speed build as well, and I think that definitely looks really nice and really makes it blend in more. And the same goes for the bridge. Like at first I thought maybe the bridge should have more of like a wooden fence around it or anything like that, but obviously that's not really safe. And I think by using the aquatic rocks, like there's just one piece that is like looks like a fence in my opinion, so using that one that is very thick and heavy, and I think using that one as the fencing of the bridge, I think that already works really well, because you will not really expect guests to like hang over those type of rocks or anything like that. So I think for safety, it definitely looks way better already having those rocks, and I don't think we will need anything like netting or something like that to make it more safe. I think this might be safe enough already for the bridge, but I did keep that in mind to make sure that it would be safe or not. And the waterfall of the habitat, I didn't do too many crazy things. Like obviously we used the VFXs, I did use a few of the taiga rocks to create the wall behind the waterfall, because while keeping it glass doesn't make any sense to me. It looks a little bit weird, but it's definitely useful to use the glass fence to create like this very straight wall behind the waterfall. And above the waterfall you will see like this little bridge with like a wooden fencing. That one is going to lead towards the tunnel system that we have for the Siberian tiger. And but other than that, I didn't do too much yet of detailing above the waterfall, because I am not really sure yet where this waterfall is going to lead towards to. So yeah, we have to wait and see about that. There's probably going to be another habitat somewhere close to that upper section. Like there is also the doll sheep on the left side, I think. So yeah, it makes sense to have probably some kind of animal on the other side, and it also should go a little bit more up into the mountains, so I think we can definitely make use of that. So that is why I didn't do too much of detailing on the top of the waterfall just yet. So as I do a lot often in all these habitats, I try to have this mixture of like a snowy area and a more greener area, and I did the same thing for the Siberian tiger. I gave it a more snowy area at the waterfall section, and on the other side you really have like these small little patches as if the snow is like almost melted away, but you still can see a little bit of the patches, and the rest is just mulch and combination with the grass sections. Obviously, like the habitat is not super densely decorated with a lot of trees and shrubs and stuff. I really try to give it a few amount of trees. Like obviously if I think of a Siberian tiger in like a snowy biome, I do see them walking around more in like a foresty area, so I really wanted to give it a few of those trees. I'm actually not really sure if they are able to escape via those trees out of their habitat. I do doubt it, but I know that there are a few trees that tigers are able to climb in, so that is definitely something I need to keep an eye on. But yeah, I did use a few of the trees and stuff, but not too many, just enough, because the habitat is not like super big, so you can't really go too crazy. But there is obviously a lot of trees on the outsides of the habitat to really create more of that dense and more foresty feeling, obviously. And other than that, I also use a lot of the aquatic rocks, the small little rocks, to create those details and that more contrast in the habitat. Didn't go too crazy with them, but I did add them enough, I guess. And also using the dead Himalayan trees, I think that's what they're called, for some decoration in the habitats. I do really wish that those dead trees would definitely be used by the Siberian tiger, as in like climbing frames and stuff. I do miss out on that a little bit. That would be just super cool and super amazing to see, I guess. But yeah, in this case, I just used them for a decorational purpose. And later on, I also decided to use a little bit of the mossy patches and stuff, like I also used in the Arctic wolf habitat, to really give it a little bit more dense feeling, because I feel like in this type of biome, with the taiga biome, I don't really feel like going to add like so many bushes and stuff. I did add like the more brighter colored bushes, a black thorn bush, I think they're called. I did use a few of those also because of the contrast. They're very light, so I do really like that. But other than that, I actually don't really like to use that many trees, sunken trees, like to create like dense bushes and stuff. I don't really find that fitting for this whole zoo, in my opinion. So yeah, overall, we have a beautiful habitat with some water section, a beautiful waterfall, and a shallow stream going through the habitat. We have a cave viewing, and we have this more underground. I'm not really sure how to call it actually. But yeah, overall, I'm just really happy with how this habitat has turned out. Really curious what you guys think of this new habitat. I'm probably going to do another poll on the community wall very soon, so you guys can vote for the next animal already for Pontus Zoo. I do really like that you guys have some input in that, so keep an eye out for the community wall if you want to have a vote or a say in what the next animal will be in this zoo. And obviously we will keep hoping that Frontier is going to add new animals in the game, or well, new animals will be with a new DLC that will probably launch at like the end of March or beginning of April is my guess. But like animals that we already have in the game, that with like diving animations, that will be just super amazing. So I'm still hoping and waiting for that update, but I have no idea how fast they are. It could potentially be a free update next to a new DLC, so it could still take like a month or two before we see any extra animals being added in Planet Zoo. Or I keep saying extra animals, but more like the current animals, that they will get some diving animation. So it can still take some time, but we will just patiently wait for that to happen. And we're definitely just going to continue with the outside of Pontus Zoo as long as we don't have any more aquatic animals for the inside. I'm keep hoping for an aquarium DLC in the future, but we have to wait and see about that. It's really I really don't know. I really don't know. It's so unsure. It could be anything. Like we had the sun bear in the leaks that we still don't have, so it could potentially be some kind of completely different pack. I mean, an aquarium pack doesn't really match a sun bear, so we have to wait and see, guys. We keep our fingers crossed for an aquarium pack. I keep my fingers crossed for an aquarium pack for sure. I really would love to see that, but I would also be happy with an aviaries pack. But do let me know in the comments down below what you guys are looking forward to the most. What is something that you really want to see right now added into the game? Do let me know in the comment section down below, and let me know what you guys think of this Siberian tiger habitat. Leave a like at the video if you guys enjoyed, and subscribe of course if you haven't already. And if you want to support the channel a little extra, you may want to consider to become a Fay Fam member with the join button of YouTube, or via Patreon with the link down in the description. You can also find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. You can also find those links in the description down below. And yeah, I just really hope to see you guys all in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye guys!